Welcome to Eye on America. I'm Michelle Miller. Today we explore how Americans are dealing with challenges and opportunities in the economy. In Texas, we learn why many aspiring homeowners are struggling to break into the market. And in Oklahoma City, we see how two brothers tapped into the city's growing craft beer scene to launch their own dream business. But we begin in Virginia, one of just 10 states that require a personal finance course to graduate from high school. Meg Oliver sits in on a class that's teaching teens how financial literacy serves as a foundation for fiscal responsibility.
So what all do you have in here?
So we sell sneakers, we buy, sell, and trade.
22-year-old college senior Norris Willifer doesn't just work at MBM Kicks in downtown Richmond.
Hey, go Boston.
He owns it.
Where did you learn how to open a business at such a young age?
Ms. Hare was one of my biggest influences. She taught me a financial literacy class.
Good afternoon.
That class Miss Hayer teaches isn't a college course.
It's called inflation.
This is high school. Charlotte Hayer teaches at Richmond Community High in Virginia, where the course is required for graduation.
How important is financial literacy?
I unashamedly tell my students that this is the most important course they will take.
Are you teaching investing, budgeting, Bitcoin?
Anything that deals with money. We talk about scams, we talk about insurance, we talk about planning, decision making, budgeting, checking accounts, investing, saving. We cover it all.
85% of high schoolers nationwide say they want to learn about financial topics. Only 10 states require the course, but by 2031, that's expected to jump to 26.
They're on the brink of adulthood.
John Pelletier has been tracking the number of states requiring high school finance courses for more than a decade.
They're entering that phase of life where not a day will go by where they don't think about money, how to make it, how to save it, how to spend it.
Students who take these classes learn more than just how to budget their money at the mall. Studies show requiring financial education improves credit scores, lowers loan delinquency rates, and reduces the likelihood of falling behind on credit card payments.
If a young person understands how to maximize their credit score, so they get lower interest rates on credit cards, on automobile loans, on their mortgages, that could literally save them more than $100,000 in lifetime interest payments.
16-year-old junior Mahogany Rogers is taking Miss Hayer's class now.
Are you a saver or a spender?
A spender.
A spender.
I have to be honest.
She's also started her own business, doing her classmates' hair, but she thinks the class should be required for all students, budding entrepreneurs or not.
This class, she kind of teaches us how to get into the mindset of you don't always have to buy something that you want. It's more about what you need.
Would you have been able to start this business without having a financial literacy class in high school?
Definitely not.
A valuable class helping students earn dividends for years to come.
We turn now from learning about money management to planning for retirement. Workers in their 50s are generally at peak earning potential. However, 2/3 of 55-year-olds fear they will outlive their retirement savings, according to a recent survey. Jill Schlesinger speaks with one couple who wants to save more for their future, but are stretched too thin, supporting multiple generations of their own family.
Dinner time at the Gomez residence in suburban Boston means feeding 3 generations.
It's crazy. We're raising my niece and nephew. My mother lives with us, and my sister lives with us.
So how many people total in this house?
7.
Alicia, 56, works for a nonprofit, and her husband, Chu, 58, works in logistics. They're part of the sandwich generation, workers supporting young relatives and aging parents.
I equate it to a turkey club sandwich because a club sandwich has a lot of layers, and we have a lot of layers.
Sandwich arrangements like this account for roughly 5 million U.S. households. They can easily wreak havoc on retirement plans.
How do you think about the future?
We were thinking 62. Well, we can retire at 62 and still be young. And the other day she says, "You're going to work to 70, right?" I'm like, "I guess so."
50s is a good time to save.
People in their 50s, says labor economist Teresa Ghilarducci, need to put away as much of their earnings as possible.
In your 50s, you may be pressured to help your adult children. You may be pressured to even help your older parents, but don't sacrifice your own retirement savings.
The Gomez's are saving, but they are more than $500,000 in debt, including house, car, and college loans for their 2 daughters.
How long before those are paid off?
He's going to be 71 when they're done.
Yeah, we'll have those for a long time.
The Gomez's do have a nest egg, but not a big one. If you're in your 50s like them, here's what to consider. Have honest conversations about how long any assistance for relatives, like any older children, will last. Temporarily reduce retirement contributions to pay down any high-interest debt, like credit cards. Then, importantly, don't forget to boost your savings.
Is the money coming in covering the bills that you have?
We have enough, but it's not where we should be. God forbid if one of us gets sick or we are laid off, what will that do to us financially?
Well, people in their 50s have a really high chance of losing their career job. So watch your back, keep your job.
Both Alicia and Chu were in fact laid off in their 50s. Alicia picked up consulting work, then was rehired. But it took Chu 6 months during the pandemic to find a new job.
When you get laid off, you can't do the 401k, so that was 6 months of 401k that was not being put in there.
Chu missed $13,000 in 401k contributions, which would have been worth roughly $40,000 by the time he retires, and could have helped cover some retirement costs, like health insurance. On average, a retired 65-year-old should expect to spend about $165,000 on health care throughout retirement.
Do you think about that?
It's funny, you know, until you bring it up with somebody, oh yeah, that other thing, that's always there.
Take your time.
The retirement pressure never lets up.
We didn't know we were going to have to care for so many family members. So the unexpected was a wake-up call, I think, for us.
For the sandwich generation, saving for the unexpected is the best answer to that call.
That sounds good.
Coming up, why many would-be homeowners are increasingly embracing renting. This is Eye on America. Welcome back. Prospective homeowners are still dealing with high interest rates and expensive listings across the nation, delaying their dreams of owning property. Chris Van Cleve learns how the shortage of available houses to buy is leading to a spike in the home rental market.
About 90 minutes outside Houston, Richard Bellote loves the view from his backyard.
Every morning I get up and I go outside with the dogs and I have a cup of coffee.
But he doesn't own this brand new house. In fact, it's not for sale. His Montgomery, Texas community is part of a rapidly growing trend in the U.S. housing market. Blocks of single-family homes built specifically to rent.
It's a good stepping stone.
Despite saving diligently to buy a home,
the interest rates are just too high to manage.
He and his fiancée feel priced out of their house hunt.
And just really kind of crossing our fingers that those rates go down.
Bellote is far from alone. A July poll found 86% of renters say they can't afford a home, and 54% believe it's unlikely they'll ever be able to. CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger.
House prices have gone up by more than 40% in just 4 years. There are a lot of people out there who really want to be in homes and they just can't afford to get there.
Built-to-rent communities began popping up in Phoenix during the Great Recession to meet that demand. People who couldn't buy a home but wanted a house. They are higher density and smaller cottage-sized homes, a literal cottage industry now spreading across the Sun Belt. 3 metro areas are really leading this built-to-rent trend here in the Phoenix area, Dallas, and Atlanta. But nationally last year, nearly 100,000 units were completed. That's an all-time high. And part of the drive behind it, the cost to rent, is less than the monthly cost to own.
We're really in the first couple innings of the BTR business.
Brent Long is leading the built-to-rent expansion for Christopher Todd Communities. He says renters stretch from Gen Z to baby boomers.
It's really renters by choice and renters by need.
If the traditional view of the American dream is you buy a home and that becomes your biggest asset. What does this do to that concept?
I don't think it takes it away. It solves some issues that are out there in terms of affordability, availability.
I just don't want to own right now.
Cassie Wilson rents by choice. Her community outside Phoenix is loaded with amenities, but free of homeowner responsibilities. Do you feel like you're throwing money away?
No, I can live here in a house that is fully upkept by someone else. I would like to buy a house out here, but on the flip side, I still want to travel. This is just the perfect in-between for us.
While growing, these communities made up only about 8% of new residential construction last year. Housing advocates in Arizona welcome anything that helps address the housing shortage, but argue these communities aren't enough to push prices down. Back in Texas, Richard Belote sees this built-to-rent house as buying time to save.
This gives us the opportunity to live in a nice place, a place that we like, a place that we can treat like a home, and hope that things get a little bit more manageable.
Home sweet home, as they wait for a break in the housing market.
We continue with the ongoing housing crisis that's facing millions of Americans. Experts estimate a current shortage of about 5 million homes for sale or rent. This lack of inventory is continuing to drive up demand and prices. Mark Strassman shows us how the situation is worsening for families looking for a starter home.
I am actively house hunting. I would love to purchase a home by the end of this year.
In Houston, the starter home Felicia Ellis desperately wants seems priced like the forever home she can't afford. Take this 3-bedroom, 2-bath house.
Someone put in an offer and the offer was accepted. That was
the one that got away.
Yeah, the one that got away.
Buyers like Ellis need builders like Sharon Mayberry.
We want to take and go ahead and get this framed up.
He's committed to starter home projects like this: 40 units, 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, 1,650 square feet. Typical price, $250,000, about average for Houston starter homes. His secret to making the math work: city zoning and subsidies. He's financing the build using nearly $5 million in city reinvestment funds.
It's the land costs that kill you right off the bat.
Oh, absolutely. Because without the land, you can't build a house.
Without the subsidies, what would they average?
Oh, man, it would be north of about $350, pretty close to $400,000.
CBS News crunched the numbers for income and home prices in America's largest 100 cities. 5 years ago, 1 in 3 American families could afford a starter home in 63 of those cities. This summer, it's down to 10. Just 10 cities where a starter home is possible for 1 in 3 families.
There is no doubt this is a crisis.
Chris Vincent's with Habitat for Humanity. It's Vice President of Government Relations and Advocacy. Habitat, one of America's largest builders of starter homes like these in Silver Spring, Maryland, now focuses on advocacy as much as building.
A lot of this is from tailwinds even from the 2008 financial crisis, but we've essentially been not building enough homes over the last decade to keep up with the demand.
Carolyn Hipkins got lucky in Maryland. She was making $54,000 a year when she bought this starter home, a house rehabbed by Habitat. Sale price, $360,000 with a 0% Habitat mortgage.
Oh, I was happy. When I got that call on the phone, I had to control myself because I wanted to scream.
What does it mean to you to have your own space?
Oh, peace and quiet and, just comfort.
Habitat says 1 in 6 families now spend more than half their income on housing.
What are you advocating for?
It's access to credit, it's access to land, and it's in places of communities of opportunity.
But for every Carolyn Hipkins, thousands of people like Felicia Ellis keep looking.
So you tell yourself, I am going to buy a house.
Absolutely.
I am going to buy a house.
Yes,
I am going to buy a house.
Yes. I have it written down, and I have it on a Post-it note in my bedroom.
What does the Post-it note say?
It says, you will be a homeowner.
The American dream on a Post-it note. It has sticker shock.
Ahead, how two brothers' unique beer bus helped lead the charge for one city's craft beer boom. That story is next. We close our show in Oklahoma City, one of the top destinations for craft beer lovers in the country. Brothers Joe and Will Quinlan opened the Big Friendly Brewery there in 2019. But their entrepreneurial journey began years before when they converted an old school bus into a unique mobile tap room. I recently visited the site where the siblings turned a beat-up bus into a beer lover's dream. It all started with a converted school bus?
Yeah, this is it.
Joe Quinlan and his brother Will set out to start a business. Before there was the Big Friendly Brewery, there was this beer bus.
I would go to festivals and I would see food trucks selling food, and at those same festivals I would see breweries selling beer, and I'm like, it's possible to sell beer at these festivals, and why is there not a food truck that sells beer?
They wanted to change that, and within a year, started building their vision. Wow, you really made this your own.
Yeah, we converted it. Took quite a while to do.
10 months to be exact, to transform an old school bus into a functioning tap room, equipped with a bar, lights, tables, stools, and a custom fridge.
Back here, which is one of the things I'm the most proud of.
Look at that.
We have 8 taps on the inside, 8 taps on the outside.
And the price tag?
It probably costs like $20,000 or $25,000 to remodel it, which is not really that much if you think about it, but I had some friends that were generous with their time and wanted to help out.
Once the renovation was complete, it was time to hit the road. How do you go from real estate in California to running a brewery from a school bus?
It's a great question. It's something that you just don't plan. You know, you just kind of take one step at a time.
Joe took the first step in 2007 when he moved to Oklahoma City after his sister and parents relocated. Why did you think your fit was in Oklahoma City?
I really loved the contrast of Oklahoma City, where living in San Diego is much bigger, faster. The cost of living was a lot higher. People were always coming and going, and they were there for the ocean and they were there for the weather, but they weren't there for me.
But you're saying the engagement was about the destination.
Yes, yep. And then this just seemed like an easier place to start a business.
Especially since they had virtually no competition. It wasn't until Prairie Artisan Ales, one of the top breweries in the country, launched over a decade ago, that put the Oklahoma craft beer scene on the map.
When I first moved here, there was one brewery in the whole state.
Just one?
One.
How many are there now?
About 80.
Today, Will and Joe brew about 150,000 gallons yearly at the Big Friendly. Perfecting those skills started at home. Did you know anything about making beer?
No.
Not a soul stitch?
No, I knew how to cook food at home. I knew what ingredients went into making beer, but I had no clue on how to make beer.
But you knew you liked it?
I loved beer, yeah. I came from a mecca of craft beer in San Diego, so moving out here was kind of sad in that way.
So you created it?
That's right, yeah. There was really nothing going in the craft beer scene, and so not only could you start something, but you can be part of the culture that formed around that something.
The Quinlan brothers were on the ground floor of the recent craft beer boom here. And here's the big brewery.
Yep, this is the brewery.
You went from the bus to the brewery in how many years?
5.
What do you think ignited it?
Community, creativity, and this desire to make a product that we want to drink. Like, beer is about community. It's about hanging out with people that you love.
Community and the vision of the neighborhood coming to life. Well, when you look around, look at this neighborhood. I mean, it's brand new.
Yeah, this neighborhood started, I think, just over 5 years ago. When we were building the brewery, there was houses being developed right behind us. There was hardly any houses built.
And they're building more.
Yeah, they're building more. There was nothing to the north. There was nothing to the south of us. The Wheeler District is a new urbanism type community where it's very walkable, very bikeable. It's very different for Oklahoma, actually very different for the region.
Since the Big Friendly opened in 2020, it's been awarded silver medals for their farmhouse ales, gold medals for its Petite Saison, and named Brewery of the Year at the Great American Beer Festival.
We make beer that we like to drink, and so we made this really low ABV beer that we could drink a lot of. A light, sessionable, refreshing, slightly citrus flavored beer. Very bubbly and bright.
It is pretty.
A light color. We make it with Pilsner malt and some wheat.
Cheers.
Cheers. So it's different than maybe what you're used to.
Yeah, no aftertaste.
Very
clear.
Very smooth.
Right, right. It's all paid off for these brothers in ways they could have never imagined. You're from the Sunshine State, and we know they call it California dreaming. Is this your big dream here right in Oklahoma?
I can say that when I was in California, this was far from what I thought my life was going to look like. It's pretty incredible to have a space that's yours, that you love to be in every single day. Like, it's not a space that gets old to us. I come in and I have to try beer in the morning. Sometimes midday or afternoon, you got to taste more beer. It's a pretty rough life.
For more stories like these and live coverage of breaking news, stream us right here on CBS News 24/7. I'm Michelle Miller. Thank you for watching Eye on America.